Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mindshift Medi. Reality or Imaginations, Devil 20 Gifts, Saga, Vertical Bar Episode 1, The Gift of Agriculture, A Tale of Growth and Decay. In the ancient days, when humanity roamed the earth as nomadic tribes, life was a constant struggle. The people followed the herds, gathered wild fruits, and lived in harmony with the rhythms of nature. But the land was harsh, and survival was uncertain. Hunger was a constant companion, and the threat of starvation loomed over every season. During this time, the devil, the master of deception, saw an opportunity. He would offer humanity a gift to ease their suffering and bring them prosperity, but like all his gifts, it would come with a price. Disguised as a benevolent spirit, the devil appeared to a young farmer named Kale. Kale was a dreamer who longed for a better life for his people. He had often gazed at the wild grasses and wondered if they could be tamed, if the land could be made to yield its bounty in abundance. Kale, I have seen your struggles. I offer you a gift, a way to harness the earth's power and bring forth food in abundance. Take these seeds, plant them in the soil, and tend to them with care. In time, they will grow into crops that will feed your people and end your hunger. Kale, blinded by the promise of a better life, accepted the gift without question. He took the seeds and planted them in the fertile soil near the river. As the days passed, the seeds sprouted, and the fields turned green with life. The people watched in awe as the crops grew tall and strong, their golden heads swaying in the breeze. The first harvest was a time of celebration. The people gathered the grain, ground it into flour, and baked bread that was soft and warm. For the first time, they felt the security of knowing that they would not go hungry. They praised the heavens, believing that this gift was a blessing from the gods. But the devil watched from the shadows, a sly smile playing on his lips. He knew that this gift would change the course of human history, and not entirely for the better. With the advent of agriculture, the nomadic tribes began to settle. They built permanent homes near the fields, creating the first villages. The people worked together, tilling the soil, planting seeds, and harvesting the crops. Life became more predictable, and the fear of starvation began to fade. Kale, now a respected leader, taught others the secrets of farming. He showed them how to rotate crops, how to irrigate the fields, and how to store the harvest for the lean months. The villages grew, and with them, the sense of community. But as the population increased, so did the demands on the land. The once fertile soil began to tire, and the yields diminished. The people, desperate to maintain their newfound way of life, cleared more land, cutting down forests and plowing fields where wild animals once roamed. The devil watched with satisfaction as the balance of nature was disrupted. The forests, which had once been the lungs of the earth, were replaced by endless fields of grain. The rivers, once clear and pure, became muddy with runoff from the plowed fields. The animals, driven from their homes, began to disappear. And yet, the people continued to praise the gods for their bounty, unaware of the true cost of their prosperity. As the villages grew into towns and the towns into cities, the need for organization became apparent. The people elected leaders to oversee the distribution of food, the maintenance of the fields, and the defense of their lands. These leaders in time became kings, ruling over vast territories. The kings, hungry for power, sought to expand their domains. They waged wars, conquering neighboring lands and enslaving their people. The fields, once tended by free farmers, were now worked by slaves, their backs bent under the weight of their labor. The devil, ever the opportunist, whispered in the ears of the kings. He encouraged their greed, their ambition, and their thirst for power. He showed them how to build granaries to store the surplus grain, how to levy taxes on the farmers, and how to use the wealth of the land to build armies. The people, once united in their struggle for survival, were now divided. The rich grew richer, while the poor toiled in the fields. Their lives were a little better than those of the slaves. The cities became centers of wealth and power, but also of corruption and decay. And still the people praised the gods for their prosperity, blind to the chains that bound them. As the centuries passed, the land began to show the signs of wear. The soil, once rich and fertile, became depleted. The crops, once abundant, began to fail. The people, desperate to feed their growing populations, turned to new methods of farming. They used fertilizers made from animal waste, they dug canals to bring water to the fields, and they bred new varieties of crops that could withstand the harsh conditions. But these solutions were only temporary. The fertilizers polluted the rivers, the canals drained the aquifers, and the new crops required more water and nutrients than the land could provide. The people, in their quest for progress, had upset the delicate balance of nature. The devil, watching from the shadows, smiled. His gift had brought humanity to the brink of destruction. The forests were gone, the rivers were poisoned, and the soil was barren. The people, once so proud of their achievements, were now facing the consequences of their actions, and yet they continued to praise the gods, believing their suffering was a test of their faith.
In the midst of this chaos, a young woman named Lyra emerged. She was a farmer's daughter, raised in the shadow of the fields. She had seen the land change, had felt the soil grow hard and unyielding beneath her feet. She had watched her father struggle to feed their family as the crops failed year after year. Lyra was different from the others. She questioned the way things were. She sought to understand the root of their problems. She spent her days in the fields, studying the plants, the soil and the water. She read the ancient texts, searching for answers. One day, as she sat by the river, she heard a voice. It was soft, like the rustling of leaves, but it carried a weight that made her heart ache.
Lyra, you have seen the truth. The land is dying, and with it your people. But there is a way to heal the earth, to restore the balance that was lost.
Lyra looked around, but there was no one there. The voice seemed to come from within her, from the very depths of her soul.
Who are you?
I am the spirit of the earth. I have watched as your people have taken from the land without giving back. I have seen the forests fall, the rivers dry up, and the soil turn to dust. But you, Lyra, have the power to change this. You can teach your people to live in harmony with the earth, to nurture the land as it nurtures them.
Lyra listened, her heart filled with hope. She knew what she had to do. Lyra returned to her village and began to spread the message of the Earth Spirit. She taught the people how to farm in a way that respected the land, how to rotate crops, how to use natural fertilizers, and how to conserve water. She showed them how to plant trees, how to restore the forests, and how to protect the rivers. At first, the people were skeptical. They had been taught that progress was the key to survival, that the land was there to be exploited. But as they saw the results of Lyra's methods, they began to change. The soil became rich and fertile once more. The crops grew strong and healthy, and the rivers ran clear and pure. The kings, threatened by this new way of thinking, tried to suppress Lyra's teachings. They accused her of being heresy, of trying to undermine their power. But the people, inspired by her vision, stood by her side. They refused to return to the old ways, to the practices that had brought them to the brink of destruction. In time, the land began to heal. The forests grew back, the rivers flowed freely, and the soil became rich with life. The people, once divided by greed and ambition, came together to protect the earth and to live in harmony with the land that sustained them. And as they did, the devil's grip on their hearts began to loosen. The gift of agriculture, once a tool of destruction, became a means of redemption. Centuries later, the story of Lyra and the Earth Spirit became legend. The people, now living in a world where the land was respected and cherished, remembered the lessons of the past. They knew that the gift of agriculture was not just a means of survival, but a responsibility to protect and nurture the earth. And though the devil's influence still lingered, though the temptation to exploit the land for short-term gain still existed, the people remained vigilant. They knew that the true gift was not the ability to grow food, but the wisdom to do so in a way that honored the earth and all its creatures. And so, the gift of agriculture, once a tool of the devil, became a testament to the resilience and wisdom of humanity. It was a reminder that, even in the face of destruction, there is always hope, always the possibility of renewal, and the devil, watching from the shadows, could only smile. For even he could not deny the power of the human spirit to overcome his deceptions and find a path to redemption. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below.